our solution specialists, and I've been mastering data since 2015. Great to be here again today with you. Today is part 3 in a video series looking at master data management and mastering data. In part 3, we're looking at how to clean up and standardize your data. So we're going to go through just, again, a very high-level look at the WinPure's Clean and Match master data management system, talk through some of the things that you might need to be aware of, how we can use the tool to clean and standardize your data. So let's go ahead and jump into it to keep it brief. So again, you should see my screen on your screen. We're going to get started by logging into WinPure's Clean and Match master data management system. Once we've done that, of course, we can start importing data into the system. To stick with concepts and really data sets and data stories from the previous parts in this video series, we're going to use the same 3 sets of data here. Again, the business use case is that we are pulling data from 3 different systems to master that data and to prep for the target system. Right, so we're going to do some things to kind of extract the data from those source systems. We're going to import that data into our WinPure's Clean and Match master data management system. We're going to get hands-on with the data. We're going to analyze the data in different ways, potentially even using multiple tools to do that within the WinPure's Clean and Match master data management solution here. We're also going to be able to do some things to better understand the content and the structure, the overall quality of the data, whether or not this, the final output, whether or not the source data or the final output from our system is fit for purpose. And again, we've talked about some different tools and some different approaches to doing that here from within the system. We have talked about using the data quality profiling statistics to better understand the content and the structure of each data set. We've talked about partnering with WinPure and using our verification services like address verification, email verification, phone verification. We've talked about running some simulations from within the system here to match and to look at what it would look like to deduplicate the data. So in other words, how unique are the 3 data sets once they're combined? How similar are the data sets in content and structure? How many duplicates exist? And how much mismatching information really exists across these systems, right? So there's a variety of potential possibilities that way. When looking at how to clean up and standardize the data, of course, first and foremost, again, we're looking at, to operationalize the data or to consider it good data quality, it should be fit for purpose. So the context and the business requirements, technical requirements, that should really drive decisions that are being made about how to clean and standardize the data, right? Beyond that, you can use our data quality profiling tools, our statistics, the discovery. You can use the tools for matching to run simulations that way to look at the uniqueness of the objects, entities being described within the data sets that way. Beyond that, you can use and partner with WinPure to use our address verification, phone verification, email verification services, and again, use all the tools within the software here to do any additional cleanup that may be needed to cleanse, standardize, normalize, or transform the data, or otherwise massage the data to prepare for that target system or use case. So again, from within the system here, we're starting at data lists. We can see that the same 3 sets of data. We have essentially collected or extracted kind of a single customer record from 3 different systems. Each system is somewhat unique. So in other words, the content and the structure of the data from each system is going to be slightly different, right, from system to system. So the customer name may be represented slightly different, maybe mismatching address and phone number and email and things of that nature may not match from system to system, right? One of the biggest challenges mastering data is that the content and the structure of each system is typically very different. And then in addition to that, the data does not match, right? So again, we're going to be able to use the tools here within the WinPure Clean and Match Master Data Management solution to, really to better understand the content and the structure, to do some massaging, cleansing, standardization, normalization, things like that. Also to do the matching, to take a look at, how unique are these, objects or entities being described within these data sets. What percentage of duplication may exist, and how matching is that data. In other words, how consistent is the data from system to system? Not just consistency in the structure, but consistency in the content, right? So again, is Ben Cutler being described the exact same way in both systems or in all three systems? So all of that, all of that can really be done here within the WinPure's Clean and Match Master Data Management tool. A lot of the times you might also use some of the other tools as well, some of the other tools out on the market, even just Excel. So in other words, really combining your use of different tools depending on your use case. So today we're going to go ahead and drill into this a little bit more in detail. We're actually going to spend more time today at the clean step. The topic of the video is how to clean up and standardize the data. So, in the definition of clean up is not quite clear, right? It depends on who you're asking, but we're just going to assume the context of this question is really looking at how to clean the data. So maybe not so much on like the matching and the deduplication, the merge and survivorship, but more on really how to clean each data set by data set. So we're going to go ahead and jump over to the clean module on our screen here. We're going to use the advanced view on our screen here. We're going to hide our kind of workflow here, and we're going to adjust the sizes of the windows that we see on our screen here. Next is we're going to go ahead and choose a data set. And for the purposes of this demonstration, we're going to use the data coming from the old CRM. Now, and this is, again, just a fairly random data set. We're not going to actually do a whole lot of kind of real life cleaning here, but the intention is just to walk through this, talk about some of the different concepts, some of the definitions, best practices, different approaches and things like that, and some of the tools within the software here, within the solution that you're going to be able to use to clean and standardize the data. So again, from this clean step, we're going to choose the data set. I like the advanced view for something like this. That's going to put a lot more information on my screen. In the upper left, I'm going to highlight this. In the upper left, you can see our data quality statistics. This helps us to better understand the content and the structure of a data set very quickly and very easily, even as a non-technical user. Below that, where you see the words here, clean matrix, this is where we're actually going to do the cleansing and the massaging and standardization and normalization of the data set. And over on the right here, we've got some more information that's going to help drive these decisions. So, again, back to an earlier explanation, the business requirements, the technical requirements, whatever it means to make the data fit for purpose, all of that should really be driving decisions about how to clean the data, but also the data set itself, right? Because business requirements, technical requirements being fit for purpose, kind of a future state, these are all very important factors, absolutely important. But again, it also depends on the actual state of the data, right? Of the data set, on the actual content and structure. So from this clean step here, you're going to be able to drill into that in more detail. Even as a non-technical user, you're going to be able to better understand the content and the structure of a large data set much faster and much easier. So I will come back to the explanation in terms of what's on the right side of our screen here as I further explain the statistics in the upper left here. So for this first explanation, I'm going to make the statistics a little larger. That way we can see more information. And just to explain what we're looking at here, we're looking at a list of field names from this data set, from this old CRM data set. So again, these are data quality statistics, reference data, essentially data describing or statistics describing the quality of the data, the content and the structure of the data set. And it does that field by field or column by column. So on the left side here, you're seeing the column names or the field names. So within this data set, this old CRM data set, it contains a field called ID old CRM, followed by company, contact name, address one. What's nice about this view in the lower right is we can see all of this on our screen. It allows us to actually kind of eyeball the data set, to keep it on our screen, to better understand the content and the structure. We can preview the top 200 rows, and that way we can just see the actual column headers. We can see the structure. It makes it, kind of more real. It makes it easier to work with, especially for a non-technical user. Below that, we're actually seeing, again, a preview of the top 200 rows from within this data set. So we're actually seeing the values. So in other words, the content of this data set. And so here we're seeing the actual IDs and we're seeing the actual company names. And if we're deduplicating on a company name, we can see here we've got a couple of duplicates. If that's our only criteria, if it's just a company name, then we do have a couple of duplicates here. If it's a company name and address, it might not be a duplicate here. If you look a little bit further, it looks like it probably is. Same PO box number. If it were a company name and a contact name, or if you were deduplicating on a company name and a contact name, well, that still looks like a duplicate to me. But again, keeping this information on the screen, eyeballing the data, not just looking at statistics and not just looking at the data set, but really having a more holistic view of all of this is going to help to drive decisions about what it's going to take to achieve that future state of being fit for purpose, right? So again, back to the upper left here, we're seeing those column headers or those field names from the data set. And then if you look horizontally, left to right, what we're seeing again are kind of data quality metrics. So as soon as we import the data, the system is already running some data quality profiling on this data set that's looking at data quality metrics field by field here, or column by column. So again, here are the columns. And then if you look over to the right here, we're seeing field types. So we can actually see the field types column by column. That makes our lives easier. You can see the filled percentage. So just very quickly and easily and at a glance, you can pick up where we might have gaps and and empties within null values within the data set here very quickly and easily. And we can easily kind of scroll through the entire data set and figure out where the data actually exists, in which columns the data actually exists. So all of this is important information. There's quite a bit of information here. If you follow us over a little further to the right, we're seeing a count of distinct values. A little far to the right, we're seeing where trailing spaces may exist. And again, it kind of produces the information column by column. So we can actually pick up where trailing spaces exist column by column, right? And then again, having that information, we can actually apply some cleansing rules to clean up the information. So we want to keep this brief. I don't want to go too deep into any one specific topic here. So let's go ahead and drill into this a little bit more. The statistics up top. There are so many different metrics here. If you follow this over to the right, you'll see there's, we're kind of identifying where hyphens and apostrophes and leading spaces may exist. Letters, numbers, non-printable characters, values that may contain spaces or multiple spaces. So again, there's a lot of information here that the user can use to drive decisions about what will be needed to make the data or to achieve that future state of being fit for purpose, right? Now, what's nice about this information is it's presented in statistical format as a report. And you can download this report. If you see there's a download button, you can download this report for each data set. And then you can easily compare those reports in Excel just to better understand the content and the structure of each data set, looking at these reports side by side. You can also drill into this information even further. And what I mean by that is if you see something that looks like it may be interesting, it may be a potential problem, it may be an outlier, it may be an opportunity. Let's just use this one for example. If we look at the intersection between dots and address to, we can see that we have two values that contain dots within the address to column. And if I click on this cell here, I can actually preview those values over to the right in the window in the upper right-hand corner here. So it just allows me to really discover what actually exists within these data sets. So here, if I look at the intersection between letters and company, what I'm seeing is that there are two values that contain letters within the company name field. And I can see them here. It's the same value. It exists twice. It's a duplicate value in two different records, right? So again, you get kind of a high-level preview here of how we're going to use the tools within the Clean module to drive decisions about how to achieve that future state, right? So in the upper left, we have the data quality statistics, reference data, a report that kind of tells us what exists within the data set very granularly, column by column. We can use that information. We can click within those cells to preview the actual values, meeting specific conditions and specific columns on the upper right, in the window in the upper right. I have the data preview that allows me to preview the upper 200 rows, or the top 200 rows in the lower right. And in the lower left here, this is very simple. This is where we're going to do the cleansing and massaging and normalization and standardization of the data. It's very simple. It's very point and click and copy and paste. And as the user sets this up, they can actually create a template of cleansing settings and a collection of templates of cleansing settings to actually run cleansing routines and massaging routines. And again, it's built for the technical user, so it's very, very simple. It's very point and click. It's copy and paste. You can do this kind of work almost without a keyboard. So a quick, kind of walkthrough of some of the different things that we can do within the with the cleansing tools here. We've got tools to remove specific characters or values from the data set, and that's with the remove function here. So down below, we can just again look at the intersection here. Trailing space, ID old CRM. Apply a check here, and that will remove trailing spaces from this column. So if we look up top here, maybe we can use an example here to drive some of these decisions. If I click on dots and address to, again, I can see them here. These are PO box numbers that contain the dots. And if the standard, if the business requirements, if the technical requirements, if what's required to achieve that future state of being fit for purpose says that this field should not contain dots, or that a PO box, the value PO box, should not be represented with dots, but rather should just be represented in uppercase without dots, that's exactly what the user can do here. So we can use that as an example where we're going to remove dots from the address to field. Down below here in our clean matrix, we're just going to find the address to. We're going to find the intersection with dots. We want to make sure we are on this remove if that's what we want to do. So we're going to remove dots from address to by selecting the box at the intersection here. And what's nice about this is you can actually preview these changes. Now, if we move over to simple, we're going to have to add those settings here again. But let's take a quick look. Dots and address to and preview data. We can actually preview the changes that are taking place here as we set these rules up. So if you look at the data preview up top, what it's doing here is it's applying the rules and then showing you the preview before you actually produce the changes. So you can see the PO box now exists without the dots here. So again, we're going to keep this very brief, very short. This is kind of a high-level look. My name is Ben Cutler. It's been great to meet with you today. Again, this is part 3, how to clean and standardize your data. This is WinPure's Clean and Master Data Management Solution. I appreciate your time today. For more information, please visit winpure.com. And thanks again. Have a great day.